What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon GO Battle League content. Today's video, we're here in an episode of I'm playing something so you don't have to. In the Halloween Cup, I went ahead and tried my little Carbinky Stinky Winky Binky, and it was okay. I'll give you that much. It was okay. We went 5-0 on the first set, which is in this video, and then we went 1-4, 1-4 on stream, effectively losing all of that elo that we had gained in those battles. But I'm going to show you why Carbink is good, and I'm also going to show you why it's bad here in the Halloween Cup. So let's get into the battles here and check it out. We paired it with a Shadow Golbat lead and a Greninja in the back because it just seemed like a really strong team. The Golbat Carbink core is incredibly strong, and right in the first battle, we see a core breaker to that exact core, which is why I'm not swapping out into my Carbink here. Iron Head from the Mawile will do a lot of damage, and I have to be able to respect it. I'm just trying to get rid of this thing, to be honest. I'm hoping they try and call a bait here, but they shield up the Shadow Ball, as they should, and since Mawile wins CMP, this is an extremely bad situation for me, so I'm going to go for this Poison Fang as they swap into a Drapion. But because the Poison Fang is going to lower their defense, that hopefully will help me come in with Carbink. Now, I run Tackle on Carbink because it feels less degen to me, okay? I'm going to be honest. But a case can be made for Rock Throw, and I think, honestly, in most situations, Rock Throw is probably better because it's stab damage, and it also hits a little bit harder. The energy gains really aren't that too terribly different. But the thing is that Carbink on the safe swap, if you were ahead of a Nidoqueen by just one tackle, you have the opportunity to flip that matchup if they don't shield the moves there, and you shield. If you shield an Earth Power, you're good. So I'm going to go for the Moonblast here since I overfarmed by a bunch of energy because I was able to mostly tackle down, and then I'm going to go ahead and be able to get the final shield off my opponent here. They do have to throw their energy, but because they swapped out before they came back in, you know, obviously they tried to catch the move, so they still have some residual energy, so I'm going to come back in with my Golbat, and I'm just like, you know what? The Golbat's fine. I'm just going to let Greninja sweep with a shield and see what happens. I survive, and I'm able to come in and lock my Greninja on their Jellicent, and that is basically going to be a good game, as I can do whatever I want to this Jellicent. With a shield, basically, I just go up to 2 moves here and I win the game. So, well played to my opponent, but Greninja being a boss. Getting into the next game here, we've got Golbat on the lead versus Guzzlord. Very awkward here because Greninja, as you may have seen in yesterday's video, does not have a good time, but they're running a Snarl Guzzlord. And I'm like, huh? What? I've not seen a Snarl Guzzlord in a long time. I know there's a reason for it. Energy gain moves are very fun to use, but the damage that it gets from Dragon Tail is really, honestly, in my opinion, is a little bit better. Plus, you also have to remember that damage and the energy gains are very, very similar. So I am not able to get to a move, unfortunately. That Snarl takes me out. But I bring in my Stinky Binky here to start farming the opponent down, and they bring in their own Winky Dinky Binky to counter mine. So because I've got more energy gains with my fast move of Tackle, almost said Cackle, I'm going to be able to come in with my Greninja after launching a Moonblast and at least get some use out of it, right? If they have an answer in the back to my Carbink that that is just a dominant answer, then I got nothing. But we win this game, as I've said. This first set was a 5-0. So the first set is a very good indicator of when Carbink can be good. The thing is that after this first set, I think all 8 of those losses were the teams that were basically out to get Carbink. So you have to basically play this as you will. You know, the meta will swing to and fro as it looks to go between a triangle of people playing Carbink, people countering Carbink, people countering the things that counter Carbink, and then going back to Carbink. It's going to go in that triangle. So being able to identify where in that triangle the meta is and make a team accordingly is a very strong thing to be able to do here. So in this case, the first set was a very good example of me being in that part of the triangle where Stinky Binky is effective. And then as soon as I did that, I got all the teams that were trying to beat Binky. So, Aerial Ace, Sonic Greninja, I'm not sure why, but the thing is here is that I would have won this game even if they had thrown a Hydro Cannon at me, so that's going to be a good one. Getting into the next game here, we're going to have Golbat on the lead versus another Shadow Mawile. Dude, I ain't seen no Shadow Mawiles. You algorithm believers are gonna light me up in the comments, even though I know it doesn't exist because there's no absolute sound logic to it. You can say what you want. There's no proof either way. I'm going to opt on the side of it doesn't exist because it makes no sense to me that it would. But anyway, that being aside, my opponent does not shield a freaking Shadow Ball. And that's a good game because they decided that they decided that was it. Sableye on the lead in the next game. It's a Shadow Sableye, mind you, so this is very dangerous. I come back immediately on my Carbink, and because I'm doing Tackle, I'm doing absolutely no damage. So my opponent's able to stay in and get a ton of energy, but this is what I'm talking about, folks. The Nidoqueen, I mean, an Earth Power would absolutely eviscerate my Carbink from a Shadow, but able to go for the Moonblast here, and because the giant energy lead my opponent gave me, I go for the Rock Slide. If they let this go, I shield and farm down. If they don't let it go, then I'm good. But if they shielded that, I recognize now that I could shield once and farm all the way down before they get to 2 Earth Power. So I'm going to do that. And I'm also going to flip switch so that I can put my Greninja on this Sableye, which is a much better matchup for Greninja than it would be for my Carbink. But I don't know. I mean, in hindsight, I expected them to have, and I throw one earlier than I'm supposed to. Like, I don't know. I see MP there apparently. What I was supposed to do there was throw the move one tackle before they got to their move, but apparently it was visual lag. I don't know what happened, but I'm like, I pressed the button, but whatever. So my opponent over farming by a bit here. I'm gonna go immediately for this Rock Slide. Carbink's in here just doing work. I mean, Tackle Carbink when it works is strong. So I'm gonna come in with my Golbat, get the opponent to throw the energy, and then I'm going to get them to lure out their Sableye as well. And I'm hoping that I can keep this shield that I've got, use it for Greninja, and eventually maybe even catch a charge move on my Carbink here. So going to go in with the Greninja here and start going for charge moves. I immediately go for the Hydro Cannon because I'm like, look, I would rather go for the for sure KO or the for sure shield. I'm not here to mess around, so I'm going to go immediately for this Hydro Cannon. My opponent gets to a move before I can, but I think it's just a foul play. And it is. My opponent did not get all the way up to the Power Gem, so Greninja lives to fight for a little bit longer, going for 1 Hydro Cannon, going for 2 Hydro Cannons, and if I can get to a 3rd Hydro Cannon here, my opponent threw 1, I have to assume that they're out of energy, so I go for 1, swap immediately, we're able to catch the move here. I didn't remember how much energy, I just made that swap out of complete, like, instinct. And they know charge it, which means they get a little bit of farm, but they're not going to be able to get to another charge move before I'm going to be able to fire off this Hydro Cannon and KO the Drapion. And that is a good game. Well played. Getting into the next battle here, we've got Golbat against Dragalge. This is a very neutral matchup, but much more in Dragalge's favor because the Dragon Tails hit pretty hard, and they have Aqua Tail. I have to go for Shadow Ball in order to do any meaningful damage. So I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball immediately. My opponent throws an extra Dragon Tail to go for good timing here, and they shield it, so I'm immediately going to drop in my Carbink. And I realize that, yes, it's not great for me, especially because now there's a Greninja on the other side of the field. And, yeah, this is not going to be fun. So, Greninja in the back, I'm hoping, will be able to do some work now that my opponent has absolutely no shields left. I can live one of these, and if I have to, I don't know if I could reach the Moonblast or not. And I'm not really sure I want to try. Yeah, I could. With 2 shields, I could definitely reach it. I'm not sure I want to try, but I think I'm going to go for it here, because I would be able to use my Carbink. I'd be able to use my Carbink if I needed to, but I realized at the last second that they may be 1 away from a move, and I'm not going to get to this. So what I do here is I farm up, and I should have just gone for the Moonblast, dude. I was trying to get some energy. I wanted to farm down with the Golbat. My opponent goes for an Aerial Ace. I'm not sure why the Greninja is running Aerial Ace, man. But Golbat's going to get a slight farm down here, and if I can get to a Shadow Ball here, I'm chilling. But at this point, I'm saving the shield for Greninja. The opponent has a lot of energy, and I was going to try to immediately come in with my Greninja to catch the next Aqua Tail, but they come in with a Wormadam as well. Because I'm up a shield, this is an extremely good matchup for me. All I have to do here is shield up once, and I can go for a ton of extra energy after, knowing that they need 4 or 5 more confusions to get to a charge move. So I can go for Hydro Cannon here, farm up a bunch of extra energy here, and then go for another Hydro Cannon, take out the Wormadam right before they would get to another charge move. I'm not going to sure if it was 4 or 5. I think it's 5, but I'm not taking chances here. And all I need to do now is get off both of these Night Slashes because my opponent needs more than Aqua Tail to KO my Greninja at this point. They need 2 charge moves. They're not quite there yet, and Greninja's going to be able to take out the Dragalge despite having a tough lead and a tough counter on the back end. Good game. I got to get better at timing these. I'm changing up my editing a little bit just to see if I can make something happen, and I got to time these better. But anyway, Salazzle in the back, or in the lead here. Very, very spicy from my opponent. They're staying in. Why would you stay in against Carbink? If I had Rock Throw, this would be a problem. They go for Poison Fang, and then they swap in a Zweilous? And at the moment, I was like, Trainer, what are you doing? Why would you bring in a dark dragon to a fairy type? And I don't know, but they did it. But Carbink with a defense drop does take actual damage. It does take damage from the Dark Pulse and the Body Slam. So I'm like, okay. So I go for this Moonblast here, and then I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, what if they have double Dark Dragon or something, double Dark in the back? This is weird. That's a triple weak to Carbink team. That makes no sense to me. But I'm going to shield up because I have to get to this Moonblast. I have to find out, and I'm not going to let my Carbink go down because I feel like it's got some value. So I get up close to the Moonblast, and I'm going to swap out into my Golbat to possibly draw out whatever else they may have in the back. Should be able to get to a Poison Fang if they had just thrown the energy. So I'm going for the Poison Fang immediately just to make sure they can't get to another charge move. Taking out this Zweilous. Opponent comes in with the Salazzle, and I'm looking to just let it go. Greninja already slaps a Salazzle, okay? Watch how much damage these moves do. But because they're running Incinerate, I'm going to be able to get to a Poison Fang because their Poison Fang was not quite enough to KO. This is going to allow my Greninja to come in and just one-shot it with a Water Shuriken, but they do have Guzzlord in the back. I got to be careful because if they go for a charge move, I lose. The Carbink, I would have to shield, but they go for the Moonblast, and I come in with the Moonblast. We one-shot the Guzzlord. Right, getting into the next game here. Perfection. We love watching Moonblast one-shot things. Got a Greninja in the lead against the Golbat, fairly neutral, but those Hydro Cannons hit really, really hard, so I have to be careful of this, but also I really can't swap out here because I have a Carbink in the back. And this is where it all starts, folks. This game was the first loss in a multitude of 8 losses in the next 2 sets here that unfortunately made me really question whether or not Carbink was actually good in this meta. The first 5-0, I was like, dude, yeah, this team is cracked. And then the next 2 sets, all right. So Carbink, right, in a meta like this, Carbink was so hyped up that everybody was running potentially, right? There's like we said, it goes in waves in a triangle. That's how the meta shifts work. It typically centers around a certain aspect of the meta, and then it continues to rotate, and that's why you might find yourself getting hard countered a lot, is because there might be a certain spot of that triangle that the meta is in, and as it rotates, you may find yourself on one of those 3. So it's hard sometimes to really pick up on those meta shifts, but if you can, it's very, very good to know that so that you can adjust yourself accordingly. But in this case, I am on the part of the triangle that hates Carbink. This person is running Greninja, Toxapex, and Nidoqueen. All 3 things just decimate my poor little stinky binky. So I'm going to come in with my Greninja here. I have 2 shields. I'm hoping that we can make some magic happen. The opponent has a Greninja in the back, and I have to shield this up because it's a Poison Fang. It would hurt a lot from a Shadow Nidoqueen. And then the opponent comes back in with the Greninja, and I'm just going to go straight for Hydro Cannons because I know 1 Hydro Cannon landing would be enough to be able to put it down into a farm range. Opponent going for a charge move with me here on CMP, but thankfully I win CMP. Opponent has a very high-ranked Greninja in that case, because mine, dude, this shiny rank 1 Greninja and my shiny Ultra League rank 6 Greninja are like the pride and joy of my account, okay? I know that it's extremely lucky to have those, and man, do I know it, and I'm never getting that luck again on anything else, trust me. So Golbat's going to come in here. I'm going to have to just eat these shurikens, and I'm just like, dude, yeah, there's no way I'm winning this game. So good play. Good. Well played to my opponent, rather. Getting into the next battle, we've got Scizor on the lead. Another thing that core breaks my team. The Golbat is still okay here. I go for a move immediately, the Poison Fang, because those wing attacks do add up very quickly. Another Poison Fang would be able to take out the Scizor, so I could shield here and take it out. And I do decide at the last second to put up the shield, and it's a full set Iron Head, which is great. Now the opponent comes in with a Tentacruel. I'm going to fire off the Shadow Ball, and once again, another team that triple hard counters my poor little Binky Winky. So I can't really come in with my Greninja right now either. My opponent shielded up the Shadow Ball. They're ahead on energy. That's a lot of energy that I would have to deal with. So I'm gonna let this go. If it's an Acid Spray, so be it. If it's Scald, so be it. I think that my Tentacruel has done its job. My opponent undercharges to get some farm there, and now is gonna go for a charge move. I'm like, okay, if it's a Scald, I eat it. If it's an Acid Spray, yeah, it's an Acid Spray. So I'm going to go for a Night Slash here. I'm like praying for a boost. This should do quite a bit of damage because we did drop their defense once. So Night Slash will put them in a very good farm down range. Greninja getting the farm down, but taking a whole ton of damage just to get there. And the opponent's Toxapex. So once again, Carbink has nowhere to go against this person's team. and I am not going to have very much luck. I'm doing as much damage as I can, but unfortunately, new mechanic does not come through for me, and I'm not able to get my charge move off in time. So Stinky Binky comes in to do its best attempt at trying to make a sweep, but because it's so defensively and bulky, it's just not happening, dude. So I'm going to go for a catch here, potentially, and try and not get smacked. Thankfully, I do catch the charge move. It looked like an Iron Head, enough energy for an Iron Head, which it was. Binky's going to be able to get the farm down here, but it's not going to be enough because Toxapex 2 is extremely bulky, and it has a shield. But we'll see, because they're only doing neutral damage with those poison jabs, and I could potentially get to 2 rock slides here, depending on how much this rock slide's going to do. This could be able to be flipped, and then I see how much pitiful damage that rock slide does, and I'm like, yeah, there's no way. But I will be able to make it close, as if I'm able to get to another rock slide, I'll at least put him close to the red, so at least I can say I tried, right? Brian, not enough damage to take out Binky. Binky going for a last-second rock slide. I know, you know, we all know it's not enough, but look. He tried his best, okay? He got the opponent pretty close, considering they triple hard countered it. Getting into the next game here, we've got Golbat against Carbink, and this is not okay. I come in with my Carbink, opponent swaps immediately to protect switch advantage, which is absolutely correct here. My Tackle Bink was already at a disadvantage with their Rock Throw Bink, because Rock does neutral into itself, but normal types do less damage because it's resisted into other Rock types. So my opponent comes in with Greninja immediately, and I'm like, I already know where this is going. I'm already boned. I already know how this goes. My opponent going for a slight over farm, so I'm able to get to a second rock slide here, and going to be able to hopefully get the second shield. If I can at least get the second shield off of the opponent, then I'm at least maybe having a chance. Opponent's going to full farm down, dude. A Greninja with that much energy, I don't care how many shields I have. I don't think I'm getting anything out of this. So Golbat's just going to come in here and be a meat shield, and I have to put everything on the back of my Greninja here, and the opponent gets an attack boost. I'm like, yeah. This is going to KO. This hurts. This sucks. And I'm going to have to shield twice while I try to farm down this Greninja. So all of my shields now have to go into the opponent's Greninja, and I get denied by 1 turn lag. So now they're going to be able to make it to another charge move instead of going down. Oh, they would have made it to another one anyway. They had enough energy, but who am I kidding? But regardless, right? The 1 turn lag is just so disgusting. Opponent comes in immediately with their Stinky Binky again. 2 Hydro Cannons should hopefully be enough to KO here. And then it's going to come all the way down to what they've got in the back. 1 Hydro Cannon going through. Able to get to the next Hydro Cannon with 1 fast move, making sure that they're not... Because they only swapped out when they had like 2. So I was able to get to that there. The opponent's other... yeah, no. They got Toxapex in the back, dude. There's no way. Getting into the final battle here. Golbat into another Greninja, another awkward lead here, but I'm telling you, this is a win, so stay tuned. So we're going to go in with the Golbat, going to stay into this matchup and let the opponent throw a move. It's probably a Hydro Cannon. It's going to hurt a lot. It definitely hurts a lot. And then they come in with a Hisuian Quillfish, so I farm up a little bit of extra energy and then pop in with my Stinky Binky. Because I know that this thing has Aqua Tail, and it has a plethora of other charge moves to choose from, but because it's Poison Jab, I have a feeling that I might be able to take this matchup, especially because Quillfish is not the bulkiest Pokemon on the planet. It's not like, you know, I mean, I guess none of the Dark Poisons are particularly bulky, but gonna go for Rock Slides here and attempt to take some HP or a shield from this thing. Now that they've no-shielded, I know that I can definitely win Switch without a shield, because 1 Aqua Tail is not gonna be enough. And stay hydrated, folks. But going to leave almost no farm in the lead for the opponent's Greninja here, which is ideal. And they come in with a Nidoqueen, which means I'm able to get a chip damage Rock Slide off. So we're going to go for the Rock Slide and do a tiny bit of damage here. Did our best. Going to go for the Shadow Ball, looking for a shield from the Nidoqueen, and we do. And then we're going to come in with Greninja, and Greninja's going to have to shield a Poison thing. I go for the Night Slash off the bat to try and get a second shield off the opponent here. Fortunately, not able to pace quickly enough. But because it wasn't a CMP, I don't have to throw the energy. And now, I just got to figure this matchup out. All right, I have to shield both moves anyway. I figured this is probably going to be a Night Slash, but because of the defense drop, I don't really have the luxury here of shielding, so... It is a Night Slash. Opponent's able to save some energy. I need to get them down into Hydro Cannon range here, and we are going to have to eat this move, but they throw another Night Slash, maybe thinking it's enough, but it's not. And that's going to allow me to get this Hydro Cannon off the opponent, not reaching for that Hydro Cannon. Able to come in with the Golbat, but not able to get the KO. Opponent didn't have a move ready, though, and that's going to allow me to get the Hydro Cannon off on this Nidoqueen to win the game here. Well played. Greninja's an absolute fiend, all right? That's a fact, and that's going to be a good game. Very well played to that opponent, too. They played that very well. So that's going to be the team here. Again, that was a 5-0 and then 2 1-4s. So take that as you will for Carbink. But the team itself is extremely strong if you don't get hard countered on the Carbink. And the Tackle Carbink, like I said, you can run it with Rock Slide or Tackle, whatever you prefer. It is what it is. But thank you all so much for watching. We're going to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.